been the worst time of my life, Joe. If somebody accused me of raping them or hurting them, I have a 22-year-old daughter. I would never hurt anyone.
What happens when a career built on talent and hard work faces unrelenting public scandal and legal battles? Clifton Powell, a familiar face in some of Hollywood's biggest films, has been rocked by accusations that threaten to end everything he fought to achieve. The final sentence has been announced, but is it truly the end or the start of a hidden story Hollywood wants to keep under wraps? From the tough streets of Southeast Washington, D.C. to glimmering film sets, Powell's journey is filled with triumphs, setbacks, and a fight against forces beyond his control. The final sentence's impact. The announcement that Clifton Powell's sentence is final sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond, leaving fans and industry insiders questioning what lies ahead for one of the most recognizable character actors in recent decades. Powell's name may not immediately ring bells for everyone, but his face is unforgettable, etched into iconic films that shaped urban and mainstream cinema. Now, this final sentence feels like a closing chapter that overshadows everything he has built, yet the secrecy and silence around the verdict raise questions. Is this truly an ending, or a turning point that hides a more complicated truth? Powell's career spanned over 30 years, marked by versatility and deep commitment to his craft. To see it potentially unravel under the weight of this sentence is a stark reminder of how fragile reputation can be. The nature of the sentence, left deliberately vague in public statements, fuels speculation. Has Hollywood lost one of its most reliable faces, or is there more beneath the surface that the public is not yet aware of? This uncertainty intensifies as whispers and half-truths swirl around the final announcement, drawing a stark contrast between the man on screen and the man caught in controversy. Careers in entertainment depend heavily on public perception, and a single headline can erase years of success. Powell's story is a cautionary tale about how powerful the court of public opinion can be, sometimes even more so than actual legal outcomes. The phrase "final sentence" feels less like closure and more like a sentence passed indefinitely by a world quick to judge. The current moment reveals the difficult truth about Powell's historical impact and the unyielding tendencies that control Hollywood's entertainment industry. The situation compels us to examine two opposing forces that establish fair boundaries between personal rights and industry regulations which depend on public image and scandal. The weight of this ruling extends beyond Powell's professional life to impact his personal existence and his identity. The situation demonstrates how triumph and defeat can exist in their most extreme form. This carries grave consequences because it shows that fame leads to reputational destruction, which affects all public figures because they have no way to stop it from happening. Actors who perform their roles with complete honesty and excellence face no challenges because they show no signs of internal conflicts. Powell's life shows the extreme difference between his public accomplishments and his private conflicts, which very few people can manage. This functions as more than a closing point because it challenges people to rethink Hollywood's treatment of actors during times of public backlash, which occurs in the entertainment industry. The system operates through which a man's professional work gets diminished because of accusations against him that exist without any proof. The complete story of Powell's involvement will become evident when we investigate his personal history and professional achievements. What follows is a journey through the life and impact of Clifton Powell, a man whose unmistakable presence on screen was only the beginning of a much larger, complicated tale. Rise to recognition. Clifton Powell's story begins far from the Hollywood spotlight, shaped by a tough childhood in Southeast Washington, D.C., a neighborhood where hardship tested the resilience of every young person. Raised amidst poverty, loss, and instability, Powell faced challenges early on that demanded strength and perseverance. The death of his mother when he was just 4 and a father struggling with alcoholism created a fractured family environment. Yet, instead of being defined by these early wounds, Powell found mentors and support systems that steered him away from the darker paths that ensnared many around him. This foundation of survival and determination laid the groundwork for his future in acting. Powell's journey through the ranks of Hollywood was fueled by a relentless work ethic and a deep well of life experience. His breakout role in 1993's gritty urban drama Menace to Society put him on the map, showcasing raw energy and authenticity that resonated with audiences and critics alike. This film not only introduced him to a wider public, but also affirmed his ability to portray complex characters rooted in real struggles. Soon after, Powell became a familiar face in the popular Friday film series, where his comedic timing and effortless presence made him a fan favorite. He demonstrated a rare versatility, moving fluidly between intense dramas and light-hearted comedies. His ability to inhabit a diverse range of roles, from intimidating figures to comedic relief, set him apart from many contemporaries. It was clear that Powell was not content to be typecast or confined, embracing the breadth of storytelling with skill and nuance. By 2004, Powell had solidified his reputation as a dependable character actor, delivering a noteworthy performance in the critically acclaimed biopic Ray. Alongside Jamie Foxx, Powell portrayed Jeff Brown, the loyal road manager for Ray Charles, bringing emotional depth and loyalty to the role. The performance earned him a nomination for the NAACP Image Award, a prestigious recognition that highlighted his standing within Hollywood's respected circles. Though rarely cast as the lead, Powell's presence elevated every project, earning admiration from industry insiders. Powell worked on multiple projects during his career, which included culturally significant movies that range from Dead Presidents to Rush Hour and the Friday spin-off movie Next Friday. His work in more than 100 projects across film and television shows that he maintained a long career while people wanted his services. Directors and casting agents preferred him because he could create authentic performances that included unforgettable moments in every scene. He demonstrated the ability to change from a dangerous villain role into a loving father character, which few performers could accomplish. Powell experienced difficulties throughout his life. He achieved success yet encountered challenges because of both institutional discrimination and his personal battles which people did not see. He achieved fame through hard work against what seemed like impossible musical challenges which occurred behind the scenes and on stage. He achieved recognition through dedicated effort, which he maintained throughout his life because he refused to let circumstances defeat him. Hollywood faced multiple obstacles during Powell's career, yet he remained a dedicated actor who proved his talent through his persistent work. His life story shows that people need more than talent to achieve success because they must learn to deal with unexpected challenges that exist in their surroundings. Powell developed his profession through a methodical approach that combined his dedication and ability to adapt. From the heights of recognition, Powell's story takes a darker turn as legal troubles emerged, threatening to upend everything he had worked for. Pivotal career highlights. Clifton Powell's career is dotted with performances that have left lasting impressions, securing his place as one of Hollywood's most reliable and versatile character actors. His early work laid the foundation, but it was his ability to continually take on challenging and varied roles that earned him respect and admiration. In films like Menace to Society, he captured the grit and rawness of urban life with an intensity few could match. That role became a defining moment, introducing audiences to a presence that could command a scene with authenticity and power. Simultaneously, Powell carved out a niche in comedic roles, particularly in the Friday series, where his sharp timing and vibrant energy made him unforgettable. These films gave him access to a wider audience and showcased a different facet of his talent, one that blended humor with relatability. His performances brought balance and depth to the stories, allowing him to engage viewers beyond the typical side character. In 2004's Ray, Powell stepped into a more dramatic spotlight. His portrayal of Jeff Brown, the loyal and steadfast road manager to the legendary Ray Charles, revealed his ability to infuse sensitivity and nuance into supporting roles. The NAACP Image Award nomination that followed was not just an accolade, but a validation of his craft amid a competitive field. It recognized his contribution to a film that celebrated African American cultural history and artistry. Powell achieved over 100 film credits throughout his career, which included roles in famous movies like Dead Presidents and Why Do Fools Fall in Love and Rush Hour. His work established his unique style, which created authentic and necessary characters who drove the narrative of each story. Directors valued his professional conduct because he could transform into different roles while making scenes better through his acting skills. His ability to perform different roles made him an actor who other people wanted to work with during his time. Yet beyond the roles themselves, Powell's work is marked by emotional honesty. He used his intense stare to create fear, while his exceptional comedic timing produced laughter. He showed people his human side, which connected with them on a deep level. He displayed emotional depth, which distinguished him from performers who get trapped in specific roles and follow predictable acting methods. His continuous performance throughout various projects created a film portfolio that most actors consider their ultimate goal, yet only a few actualize, proving his lasting value and commitment to his craft. Powell demonstrates his advanced artistic abilities and extensive professional knowledge through his ability to move between various film styles. The entertainment industry values his work because both his colleagues and industry authorities recognize his career achievements. As Powell's career highlights unfolded, a storm was brewing that would challenge everything he had built. The legal battle begins. In the late summer of 2011, Clifton Powell's life took an abrupt and devastating turn when a woman using the pseudonym Keontae Myers accused him of misconduct during an encounter at a hotel in New Orleans. According to her claims, what started as a consensual meeting escalated into an experience she described as too aggressive, despite her requests for it to stop. This allegation quickly spread to the media, with outlets like TMZ publishing blunt headlines that left little room for nuance. Overnight, Powell, known for his memorable roles in Friday and Ray, was thrust into a spotlight colored by suspicion and controversy. From the outset, Powell vehemently denied the accusations. Through his representatives, he declared the claims false and pledged to pursue all legal avenues against the accuser. However, once such serious allegations enter the public domain, the damage extends far beyond legal proceedings. Even after a criminal investigation was dismissed due to insufficient evidence, the headlines lingered. The story didn't fade, as Myers then filed a civil suit seeking more than $75,000 in damages, prolonging the ordeal for years. Unlike criminal cases, civil lawsuits require a lower standard of proof, known legally as a preponderance of evidence, meaning it only has to be more likely than not that the claim is true. This difference posed unique dangers for Powell. In the court of public opinion, even an unproven allegation can be enough to destroy reputations and careers, especially in Hollywood, where image and perception can weigh heavier than facts. Powell himself later expressed how this ongoing legal battle eroded trust, cost him work opportunities, and left him feeling judged before his day in court. Hollywood's intolerance for scandal was swift and unforgiving. Projects that Powell had already been cast in suddenly vanished, and producers grew wary of associating with him amid the swirling controversy. Television appearances that once seemed assured were cut short without explanation, leaving him professionally sidelined. Powell recounted one particular show where he expected to appear extensively, but saw his part disappear after just 2 episodes, with no official reason besides the shadow of the accusations. The emotional toll of this period was profound. Powell described it as the most painful chapter of his life since the death of his father decades earlier. As a father himself, the impact of public accusations cut deeply, not only on him, but on how his children might perceive him. Despite maintaining his innocence, Powell could not shield his family from whispers, rumors, and doubt that followed them in public and online spaces. Strangers' suspicious gazes and anonymous hostile comments painted him as guilty well before any legal resolution. Powell maintained his work and personal responsibilities for 4 years while he dealt with the unresolved civil case. The legal process moved forward at a slow pace because lawyers and judges needed to settle their arguments about minor aspects of the case. The court case ended in 2017 because there was no evidence to support the claims. The legal process ended when Powell lost his countersuits for defamation and emotional distress, which marked the end of the case, but not his emotional struggle. Public opinion did not consider the court victory to be a success. The main conflict that leads to Powell's downfall results from the fact that he lost his reputation, which acts as his punishment, even though he never received a formal conviction. Public opinion created a system of punishment for the entertainment industry, which operates on public image, because accusations themselves act as a punishment mechanism. The term final sentence, used in this context, describes an enduring stigma that remains throughout a person's life, even after they receive legal validation. The evidence shows that Powell should have been cleared of all legal accusations against him following his exoneration. The situation resulted in major harm because he lost his acting roles and his friends lost faith in him while he battled an uncontrollable situation which destroyed his career progress. The chapter of his existence reveals an unkind truth about Hollywood, which shows that public perception can wipe out actual facts to the point where it harms even experienced actors. Even as legal battles dominated, another layer of challenges simmered beneath the surface, revealing the broader obstacles Powell faced in Hollywood. Career and personal fallout. The reverberations of Powell's legal troubles extended far beyond the courtroom, shaking the foundations of his professional and personal life. As roles disappeared and opportunities dried up, Powell found himself caught in a painful contradiction, publicly successful but privately dismantled. The industry that once celebrated his talent now viewed him warily, a cautionary tale of how quickly fortunes can reverse. The loss of work was not merely a financial blow, but a profound emotional injury. At the height of the scandal, Powell's absence from sets and public life deepened the erosion of his presence in Hollywood. Opportunities he might have secured without controversy slipped past him, compounding feelings of isolation and despair. The entertainment business, heavily dependent on reputation and marketability, distanced itself promptly to avoid risk. Studios and producers often sidestep actors embroiled in scandal, regardless of innocence or guilt, illustrating the harsh realities of the industry. Powell recalled how this period felt like a professional exile. One television series cut his appearance unexpectedly, and several film roles vanished at the casting stage. These setbacks interrupted what had been a steady career trajectory. This disruption also bred uncertainty, making it difficult for Powell to plan or regain his footing in a world obsessed with fresh faces and scandal-free assets. Powell described enduring the ordeal as one of the most excruciating experiences of his life. The accusations against him went beyond professional damage because they reached his family life. He became anxious when he listened to public and media reactions about him because he feared that his children, especially his daughter, would believe the false accusations. His family relationships with others in the community became affected by the public suspicion that developed after he claimed his innocence. The public judgment became apparent to Powell when he walked among strangers who scrutinized him. People on the internet used hidden identities to accuse him of guilt, while they showed no respect for his right to be presumed innocent. The permanent examination of his activities created an emotional confinement that absorbed his energy while it destroyed his remaining moments of tranquility in the ongoing turmoil. The dismissal of the civil suit did not help Powell because he needed to work hard to repair his damaged reputation. The legal process took so much time that it prevented him from using important moments of his professional life during those years which courts could not restore. The entertainment industry of Hollywood maintains a reputation for short memory when it comes to granting forgiveness because it continues to associate artists with their past controversies even after their actual events have been confirmed. The situation left Powell to handle both emotional and financial challenges that followed. The toll caused his resources to decrease while it established new limits for his ability to withstand challenges. The public disgrace he faced resulted in financial strain which prevented him from achieving recovery and progress. The entertainment industry required him to conduct severe self-assessment because it showed him how much his professional standing depended on his personal worth. As his career faltered under the weight of these challenges, Powell's story came to embody a larger conversation about justice, redemption, and humanity in Hollywood's unforgiving spotlight. Hollywood's systemic barriers. Clifton Powell's career struggles were magnified by the long-standing colorism and discrimination baked into Hollywood's casting and marketing decisions. Despite undeniable talent and a proven track record, Powell encountered repeated rejection based not on ability but on the shade of his skin. He has spoken candidly about moments when producers or executives dismissed him outright, labeling him too dark for certain roles, or even suggesting his complexion might intimidate or alienate viewers. These experiences forced Powell to confront an industry where Eurocentric beauty standards continue to limit opportunities for darker-skinned actors. Hollywood's preference for marketable faces often translates into a narrow definition of relatability, which tends to exclude many talented performers who don't fit conventionally accepted norms. Darker-skinned actors like Powell frequently find themselves typecast into specific archetypes, often villains or tough characters, while being overlooked for more varied roles that require sensitivity or charm. This persistent double standard not only restricts the growth of individual actors, but also perpetuates a limited and skewed representation of black characters on screen. The contradictions in Powell's career are striking. Praised for his ability to embody gritty, menacing roles, he was nonetheless sidelined when casting called for vulnerability or leading man qualities. This systemic bias relegated him to a narrower range of parts, hindering the full expression of his range and denying audiences the depth he could portray. Behind these casting decisions lay ingrained prejudices that shaped not only Powell's opportunities, but also public perceptions of his work. Such barriers extend beyond casting calls and into how actors within the communities perceive and support one another. Powell has criticized the tendency within black entertainment circles to publicly attack or diminish fellow artists, behaviors that feed into an already competitive and constrained industry. In one notable clash, he publicly disagreed with acclaimed director Spike Lee over harsh criticisms directed at another black actor, arguing that tearing each other down only entrenches systemic obstacles rather than dismantling them. The way Powell demands artists to unite stems from his belief that systemic discrimination and limited chances for artists create situations which force them to compete against each other. Powell believes that people should treat each other with respect while supporting one another because the battle for fair representation affects everyone. The industry maintains active opposition against minority success, which makes collective resilience essential for success. Powell achieved a significant milestone when he received an NAACP Image Award nomination for his performance in Ray, which he considers a recognition of his ongoing value as an artist who fights against systemic discrimination. Powell received recognition as a leading performer during the filming of Ray when he played the role of Jeff Brown, who served as Ray Charles's dedicated road manager. The acknowledgement represented a special moment when the system recognized talent, without placing restrictions based on physical appearance. Powell has received acknowledgement, yet his experience shows how discrimination exists in both obvious and hidden ways. The usage of market concerns and audience demographics as decision-making tools enables organizations to hide their established prejudices. These hidden expressions create barriers that conceal their actual nature, thus preventing fair casting practices and sustaining ongoing discrimination patterns. Powell fought for his right to be assessed based on his actual skills, not for the roles he needed to obtain. The challenges Powell faced professionally were mirrored and complicated by personal hardships that tested his resilience even further. Personal struggles and loss. Behind Clifton Powell's commanding screen presence lies a life shaped by early trauma and ongoing emotional battles. Growing up in Southeast Washington, D.C., a neighborhood steeped in poverty and violence, Powell's childhood was marked by loss and instability. The death of his mother, at just 4 years old, left him in a fractured home with a father battling alcoholism. Survival in such an environment demanded resilience, and Powell often credits mentors and extended family members with providing critical guidance that kept him from falling into dangerous paths. This difficult upbringing cast a long shadow over his adult life. Powell sought to build security and stability for his own family, marrying Kimberly Powell and attempting to create a solid home life. However, the relentless demands of Hollywood, long hours, constant travel, and the lure of fame placed immense strain on his marriage. Eventually, the relationship collapsed, leaving Powell emotionally devastated and financially depleted. He has openly admitted losing $5 million in the divorce, a crushing blow during what many might consider a period of professional stability. Powell's candid acknowledgement of his mistakes is marked by regret and painful self-awareness. He confessed to being physically absent for his children far too often, realizing too late that financial support could never replace presence and emotional connection. Reflecting on time away, he noted that being gone 50% of the time might have been manageable, but 70% was overwhelming. This admission paints a picture of a man wrestling with the sacrifices and costs of a demanding career. Powell developed a gambling addiction that led him to spend between $30,000 and $50,000 each year at casinos. The expenses he incurred from his gambling activities, which he considered to be simple pleasures, resulted in deepening financial troubles that started after his divorce. The lifestyle he described, marked by fleeting relationships, shallow friendships, and constant spending, fed a cycle that heightened vulnerability to further hardship. Powell's life during this period showed a dangerous pattern because his choices created short-term pleasure while creating enduring difficulties. He demonstrated outward success through his global performances, which people worldwide watched and appreciated. Yet his personal world was falling apart from the inside. The contrast between public image and private reality grew starker, revealing a fragile man striving to maintain control amid growing chaos. The dissonance between persona and reality reached a critical point with the onset of the 2011 allegations. The scrutiny and judgment that followed struck at a moment when Powell's internal struggles were already deep. The conflict between how audiences saw him and what he was enduring behind closed doors intensified the isolation and stress he faced. Amid these intertwined struggles, Powell's journey serves as a testament to resilience and the difficult pursuit of redemption, reminding us that behind every headline is a nuanced story of humanity grappling with adversity. Legacy and lessons. Clifton Powell's journey is a complex tapestry woven from talent, perseverance, hardship, and controversy. Despite the serious challenges that threaten to overshadow his career, his vast body of work remains a testament to his skill and dedication. With over 100 credits spanning film and television, Powell's contributions to Hollywood cannot be understated. His performances, ranging from intense dramas to sharp comedies, show a versatility that few actors possess. This legacy endures even as his personal story complicates public perception. Powell's experience underscores a harsh reality in the entertainment industry. Reputation is fragile, and public opinion can wield a power greater than any courtroom verdict. Though legally cleared of wrongdoing, Powell bore the heavy sentence of lost roles, trust, and momentum, effects that a dismissal alone could not erase. His story shows how accusations can become lifelong burdens, coloring career trajectories and personal lives long after facts are established. This raises serious questions about fairness and the cost of swift judgment in Hollywood's fast-moving spotlight. Systemic barriers compounded Powell's struggles, illustrating how colorism and discrimination continue to shape opportunities behind the scenes. His candid observations about being deemed too dark for certain roles reveal industry practices that go beyond mere casting choices. These biases not only limited Powell's potential, but also perpetuated harmful stereotypes and exclusions within storytelling. His career becomes a lens through which we view Hollywood's ongoing reckoning with representation and equality. The personal toll of Powell's challenges also reminds us that actors are more than the characters they play or the headlines that follow them. From a difficult childhood to the collapse of his marriage and financial losses, Powell endured emotional battles that few witnessed. His admission of mistakes, regrets, and vulnerabilities humanizes a figure too often reduced to scandal or typecast roles. This fuller picture invites empathy and challenges us to look beyond surface judgments. Powell's refusal to accept divisive attacks from the black entertainment community demonstrates how solidarity must be maintained when facing systemic oppression. He helped advance the discussion about artist connections through his work, which identified damaging actions while promoting partner relationships within their tough working environment. His performance adds weight to his legacy because he demonstrated leadership abilities that extended beyond his on-screen work. His NAACP Image Award nomination for Ray remains a shining acknowledgement of his craft and impact. The recognition honored his particular role, but it also represented a major milestone that helped him overcome the career obstacles created by existing discrimination. The industry transformation process began to acknowledge his talent and dedication as factors that would earn him respect. This award serves as a vital achievement, which confirms his ongoing battle against obstacles throughout his professional journey. Powell's story shows that we need to rethink how we determine the worth of people who become famous through real-world disputes. The study brings attention to how talent interacts with personal challenges and how public fields and institutional systems limit minorities. His case demonstrates that people need to use critical thinking skills to understand things better because quick judgments create dangerous assumptions. Growth and fairness will remain unreachable in entertainment until people start recognizing its intricate nature. Clifton Powell's story teaches us about talent, resilience, and the weight of public judgment. His career and struggles highlight important truths about fairness and systemic bias in Hollywood. If you found this insightful, please like and subscribe for more thoughtful stories. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to watch the next video shown on the screen.